where we have 2 PhDs on our team who statistically validate random sample pulls to make sure that the information we put out to the public is representative, okay? And which is why in most monitoring teams, clearly most monitoring teams that I've been privileged to lead, we always have a PhD, who usually someone in criminal justice, but we make sure they have a research PhD so they can statistically validate it. They use any number of programs to determine sample pulls. Now, having said that, there are a multitude of requirements that require self-assessment on the part of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, where they will do random samples of their own, and we can see their random samples of stops. Okay? And as time goes by, we are fully authorized to access any and all material that's reposited in the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, where we can do random samples. So my point is this, that with the authority that we derive from the court, with the presence of plaintiffs' attorneys, clearly counterbalanced by the presence of defense counsel as well, there are a lot of people looking at a lot of stuff, okay? There are a lot of people looking at a lot of stuff, and there are a significant number of checks and balances, which, in my view, makes it easier for me to assure you and the public that what we're assessing in terms of a sample is representative of that population as a whole.
La pregunta que hizo este señor es de las miles de paradas que están haciendo la policía, ¿cómo nosotros nos aseguramos si lo que estamos mirando es un ejemplo correcto de cómo está actuando la policía? En el grupo de nosotros hay 2 doctores de matemáticas que son expertos en crear lo que se dice un sample, un ejemplo, que ese ejemplo representa el universo de todas esas paradas. Entonces podemos revisar y darnos cuenta si solamente están parando a ustedes, que si solamente las situaciones de tránsito son personas de color, y se miran todos esos números mirando todas esas clases de clasificaciones. Pero más importante que nosotros, la ACLU está presente aquí con ustedes también, que ellos pueden hablar de lo que está pasando. La señorita Porchas, que está aquí, y ella nos da información a nosotros que lo que está pasando aquí, que nada ha cambiado. Reuniones como esta le da a usted la oportunidad que nos diga si los cambios han sido efectuados o no, o si solamente es un cuento lo que nos están haciendo. Pero en realidad, hasta que ustedes no estén aquí y de vez en que nos digan que ha cambiado la cosa, ellos nunca van a salir bajo el control de esta orden.
To say what is my problem. I'm sorry, I can't say what you want and I say. I have to say what I want. Okay? I understand that you say that we want to be specific, but the problem is that it's a whole system, and the big problem is the police department and the very bad judicial system and the sheriff office. It's very sad for me that I was victim of the police system, after with the justice office and of the sheriff department. I was accused for pretending to be a killer for the police department. I was very close to be on the jail for 25 years, and in the jail of Mr. Arpaio, I was tortured, and I suffered everything what you can think about that. I agree with the lady who was talking about the medicines, because I am epileptic and I am diabetic, and I never give me the medicines and the attention I needed. Besides the torture, I explained to the sheriff office 1 month ago, 2 months ago, what happened, and I told him, and his imagination is wrong. The jail is the hell. It's full of drugs, full of bad people, bad elements. This is awful. So this is all together. And this is very worrying for me, and I repeat this, because I was here in June 7 in the first meeting right here. I come out of the jail free and clean because I never was a criminal. When they put me in jail, I was a school teacher, and I never crossed one only red light on my life. I was here on June 2nd, and on June 17th, somebody hit me with a car. On September 9th, some guys come and jump on me and broke my leg and opened my head. The police officer, they refused to give me medical attention and filed the department. So the sheriff office in the jail, they was very clear with me. If you open your mouth, you're gonna die. We're gonna kill you. I already give the name and the base number of the sheriff officer and the people who tortured me on the jail. They put me on everywhere because they want to close my mouth. I never did nothing, but I was on 4th Avenue, I was on LBJ, I was on Towers, I was on Durango, and I was everywhere. And they put me 50 days in the hall, and I never did nothing. So everything is wrong. The sheriff never gonna say, I'm sorry. You are looking for on the YouTube, and you will see the interview when they say, you have to stop Arpaio, say one newsman. And he say, I never gonna stop because I am Italian. I have Italian blood. So this is a very ignorant response. This person is not good to this job. He is far away that he have to be out of the sheriff's department. He's too old and he needs a lot of education. I need to say that. If somebody kill me the next days, I know that he don't did what happened to me in the last weeks. But it's obvious, and the people who say that they're gonna kill me, they are worried because they can't go to jail if something happened and they catch him. I tell them the name on the badge, and I am waiting, but they do with investigation. And I know the kind of investigation they do in the jail, Mickey Mouse investigation. They don't do nothing. I hope that you, sir, the monitor, do a good investigation. Since the beginning, I give you my name, my phone number, and right now, nobody contacted me, and I called a couple of times, and nobody give me any answer to me.
Well, this is what we'll do, because one of the things we want to do is we want to give as many people as the opportunity as is possible for them to speak. And we certainly have seen you here before, and we've spoken to you before. But if there's some information that you would like to share with us, for us to follow through to see if something was not looked into that was supposed to be looked into, you see us right after this meeting. Let us handle it.
I want that you guys understand, I have my kids, I have my grandsons. If you don't see me because somebody killed me in the next weeks, I told you what is happening in my life, okay?
I understand. Thank you.
Él está aplicando lo que él está de acuerdo con la falta de tratamiento médico que pasa en la cárcel, que él sufrió lo mismo, y él ha sufrido muchos abusos en la cárcel bajo las manos del oficial de sheriff.
Buenas noches. Good evening. Good evening, Chief Washington. And thank you for returning to this community. I think it was about a year ago, ¿no? That you were here last. Hace más o menos como un año que estuvimos aquí, ¿no? And I think I can recall then that we mentioned the events of Selma and Dr. King and his voice that was raised. Nos recordamos del Martin Luther King y lo que él dijo. And this is appropriate again because the 50th anniversary just happened with the bridge crossing. Another sheriff, another county, but the same racism, the same syndrome of racism. And what I would like to do would make a comment in 3 parts, if you would allow. One, we read you the process of the proceedings themselves that we would address to you, Chief Washaw, and one would be a specific question to the representative of the Sheriff's Office with a follow-through question once we hear his response. First of all, remembering what Martin Luther King said after Selma in 67. Recordando lo que dijo Martin Luther King después de 67, he said, we have emerged from the era of civil rights to the era of human rights. He said that in 67, and in 68 he was killed. Dijo que ya hemos emergido de la era de derechos civiles a la era de derechos humanos. y luego lo mataron, Martin Luther King. This is significant because of the proceedings. We're talking about the proceedings, el contexto del procedimiento del caso Melendez versus Arpaio. This relates to the fact that the racial profiling nomenclatures used in the trial, the racial profiling designations identified in the trial for corrections, identify racial profiling against, we can hear you? What's the term that is used in the case? Racial profiling against, in the Melendez case, against Latinos, no? This is correct. Why is this a human rights issue for us? I represent the Comité de Defensa del Barrio, the Human Rights Commission of the Comité. Why is this a human rights issue for us? If you see us here, you will notice none of us are immigrants from Italy. We may have Italian blood, and welcome. None of us are immigrants from Spain. We may have blood from Spain, and that's also welcome. We have blood from all of the continents of the four corners of Middle Earth because we are the Nicandraca, we are the Mexican people. Why is this significant for the proceedings? Because of the term Latin and the designation Latin America, it wasn't even existing until 1853, which is 8 years later after the border was established. In other words, we've been invisibilized in the proceedings as Mexicans. Discrimination, although it's mentioned in the memo that was found in Chief Arpaio's office, dark-skinned Mexicans, I believe that was the memo, what it said. That was what was said. We haven't seen that piece of paper, but we would like to see that piece of paper. You could bring it to the next hearing. Here's my point. The discrepancies that we have identified at this moment, we present to you in written form in this communique, which was also presented to the County Board of Supervisors upon the first decision when the trial phase of the court, Melendez was closed. Now here comes the question for the representative of the Sheriff's Office. It was mentioned, technology, cameras, tests, examines. Yes, but we know it's actually a cultural issue that goes to the mental health of the culture of the department itself. So here's my question to you. You mentioned the long road. You mentioned the challenges that you have come so far over 1 year, no? But when you said, you also acknowledged, I heard you say it, that we have a long ways to go, no? You said that, no? Please tell us, what are the challenges internal within the department that you are facing as you go forward on this long road to eliminate racial profiling as a cultural norm within the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office and Maricopa County in general, and let's just say across the land, no? Get it out there. What are the challenges that you are facing within the department to address the culture of racial profiling in the department? And then I have a follow-through question, Chief Walsh, if you would allow.
Let me respond to the first part. I, of course, always enjoy our interchange. And Dan, I may ask you to help me with this. I think we have to differentiate between what constituted the plaintiff's class, and that I believe was defined as Latinos and as represented by plaintiff's attorneys. But the identification with whatever terms were used or used in that order does not mean that the application of constitutional policing is not relevant to everybody.
Él está explicando que aunque el pleito fue por el grupo de los latinos, las aplicaciones de todos estos cambios de protecciones de la Constitución afecta a todo el mundo. Afecta sea latino, no sea latino, afroamericano, lo que sea, el enfoque es lo mismo, aunque lo que me pusieron el pleito fueron los miembros de la clase latina.
Y esta no es la primera vez que he oído esta pregunta. Okay? Yo entiendo. Okay? Now, Chief Trump, I think you want.
So, to reiterate your question, sir, is what is the challenge that we face? There's a number of challenges, but let me say what the greatest challenge that we have. Trust. And I'm not talking internally, I'm talking here with you and everybody in here. trust is our greatest challenge. And it's the one thing that all of these other components that we're putting together through tracking how we're stopping people, who we're stopping, and all this other data that we're gathering, the use of cameras, all of this information is what we will eventually be able to provide to you so that we can accomplish the biggest challenge, and that is trust.
Thank you for your answer. I can appreciate the sentiment, and at the same time, I have to also add on to this, my sentiment is that no apology would be sufficient. There's no apology that would be sufficient for, we operate a food bank 3 blocks from here, and I can still recall the day when 2 uniformed officers of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office parked on the curb outside of our food bank and basically intimidated the families who were coming to the bank to get food for their hungry children. No apology will suffice to remove that hurt from our community, same as no apology will suffice for the intrusion into a public school of a law enforcement official in the form of a sheriff who created emotional abuse on our children in the public schools by lending his presence in a public school with this cachet that is carried on of being, well, we know the story. Here's my point, sir. My question is this: have you identified the pathology? We've been using the term white, people of color. White is a color. White is a color. It's just when we say people of color, we're really saying people of the wrong color. Why are we saying that? Because we identify white as being the color of supremacy. My question is this, sir. My question is this, Mr. Walsh, and to all of us here. Have we identified the pathology of white supremacy as the driving psychological dynamic that produces this scenario that we're dealing in this hearing today and also in the court case? The pathology of white scenario. Where is it being identified in the trainings, in the evaluation process that goes back to the very fact that we've been invisibilized as earth-skinned people of Lenikantaraka? Thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Rosa Pastrana y yo soy líder de la comunidad. Yo anoche di una entrevista en español. ¿No quiere traducir?
Her name is Ms. Pastrana, and she's one of the community leaders, and yesterday she did a press conference.
Y yo vine aquí a comentar de que la oficina de ASU, o sea del sheriff, yo veo que sí se están esforzando en hacer algo con la comunidad hispana. Sí, bueno, lo siento. Yo les digo porque ellos han ido a las escuelas, han estado hablando con la comunidad. Yo sé que aquí a lo mejor hay mucha gente que está en contra, pero pues también por eso mucha gente no viene y no quiere hablar de los arrestos que tuvieron y agarraron sus papeles, porque somos atacados por gentes como ustedes. Entonces, en lugar de tener confianza de venir a apoyarnos, ustedes nos vienen a atacar a nosotros, entre hispanos. No quieren reconocer que realmente hay cosas afuera que están pasando, no es todo lo que hay.
And she's saying that she has seen some changes in the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, that they're sending their officers to the schools to do some training. So she sees an effort. Por favor, le pedimos que todo el mundo tiene la oportunidad de decir su opinión. No quiere decir que todos estamos de acuerdo o están de acuerdo con lo que está diciendo, pero la Constitución nos da todo el derecho, como todos tuvieron su derecho de decir su opinión.
Y por último, yo sé de gente muy cercana a mí, que yo vivo en apartamentos, gente que vive en apartamentos, que esa gente no está aquí. ¿Y por qué esa gente no está aquí? Yo eso quisiera saber, y yo soy de las únicas, o a lo mejor de la única mujer que estoy aquí parada diciendo lo que he visto con mis propios ojos, y he escuchado de gente que dice, oh, gracias a estas personas, yo he agarrado papeles y han ido a estas juntas comunitarias en sus barrios pequeños.
2 hours. And there are always, every time we're here, there are always people that have additional questions. I understand. This is why we stand around for a while after this is over, and I want you to feel free to come up to any one of us. We've heard some passionate commentary tonight. We've heard some criticisms. You posed some tough questions on the monitor. I get that. I understand that. That's what these processes are. This is what these processes have to be. The only thing I would ask of you is that we do this every month. And we do this at a different location every month. So to the extent that you want the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office to hear your concerns, and to the extent that they want to hear your concerns and make adjustments accordingly, we're going to suggest that you return to our future meetings and you ask your friends and your neighbors to return to our future meetings, because it's only going to be through this kind of dialogue will we ever have a chance of bringing together people who are strongly in disagreement with each other, but share a common home here in Maricopa County. So I thank everyone for coming here tonight. I thank the sheriff for being here tonight. And again, we're going to stick around afterwards, so if we didn't recognize you, don't be offended. We'll be sticking around and you can come up to us personally. Thank you very much.
El jefe está diciendo que aunque vamos a parar la reunión, estamos aquí para oír de ustedes, usted puede venir a hablar con nosotros y por favor que sigan viniendo a estas reuniones y que nos digan, yo sé que puede ser que le pasó algo hace 4 años, pero si le pasó algo el mes de marzo, el mes de febrero, el mes de enero, que nos pueden decir que está pasando todavía estos abusos, es importante para nosotros de saber lo que está pasando. Gracias, y si tienen cualquier queja o lo que sea, estamos aquí para hablar con ustedes.